Well, yeah, I think what happens is we first get hope that we might get sober, because we see the other people around us who have done the same thing, and then we get sober.
Yeah.
We're able to actually get and stay sober one day at a time, and then for me, like what that did for me is it it actually made me realize that hopes can actually become reality, right? Like the things that I hope and dream, can actually be a part of my life.
Yeah.
And so I was really able to look at my whole life and say, like, what kind of life do I want? Like, is this, like, obviously I hate my job. Like I'm not happy with my living situation. Like why do I need to do any of this, and why can't I just walk away from it, you know?
Yeah.
And really begin to have hope that those things could also change, right?
Yeah.
And understand that like things would be okay. And that like what the fuck else am I doing this for? Like if I'm sober, like why aren't I going to have the kind of life that I want?
Right.
You know? So it really was just like this moment where it was like, dude, let's just one day at a time go through this shit. And, you know, like I don't need to think about, like I went back to school, and it was huge for me to think about, this is a 4-year program. Like this is going to be 4 years of my life. I'm going to be working full time and going to school full time. Like, what does that do to my life? You know?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not thinking about all that. Like, I'm thinking about like, okay, how do I get through, you know, like next week? Like, how do I navigate my obligations next week versus, you know, what it is I got to do for school, you know? And really just go through it. Like, honestly, when I was in school, like I went through one quarter at a time. It was like, because every fucking quarter it would change because my school schedule would change. And then all of a sudden I got to, you know, figure it all out all over again.
Yeah.
And for me, like that was how I had to do things.
Yeah.
And then I knew that like in the end of it, like I was going to actually have something that I wanted and that I worked for.
Yeah.
And so I was able to do that. And again, it gave me hope. Like, okay, like, God, wow, I did that.
Yeah.
What else can I do?
How far can I go?
Yeah. Like I mean, why not?
Yeah.
You know? And as far as the parenthood thing, like for me, like I actually like had sort of resigned to the fact that I wasn't going to have kids, you know?
Yeah.
So I'd sort of like just said to myself, like, that's probably not going to happen. It's fine. Like, I don't need that. Like, this is my life. And I think that that's another important element to remember with all this is that I can have plans, I can have hopes, and I can have dreams. And sometimes God has other plans, right? And that's not to say that I accept the level of shittiness that is around me. Like what that means for me is that there are other things that will come my way that are exactly what I need and less of what I want.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.